369. Clarity, love, grace, peace be unto you. The kingdom of heaven within you. The guest list is infinite, bro. The guest list is infinite. We are universe. Life is dancing. Oh, creatine. You better keep that.
That's a start. Billy Otto, welcome to the show.
Matt Davenport.
That's it.
Wow, it's so official. Yeah, it's such an honor to be here, bro.
It's great to have you, man.
It's great to be held in this space, surrounded by these trees and sacred land, and just dropping into the river, man, and doing some breath work. What a way to be.
To tap into the
brothers, yeah.
The body.
I feel really connected to you, dude.
Yeah.
And thank you for seeing me and for this invitation. I feel so honored.
You're welcome. Thank you for taking your time to be here and have this conversation. And let's dive into some magic.
Yeah.
You said healing will make you angry.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Oh, I think it was really speaking to me about like my own like Ned Flanders complex about like I had a whole neighborino. It's like I grew up in a conditioning where like I always chose radical positivity. And I think it's beautiful to kind of like lean into that. But when it comes to like really befriending all of the array and the spread of emotions within yourself, the angels and the demons, the ugly ones, the pretty ones, and just being like, I found that going through my divorce, like I never thought that I would ever enter into a divorce conversation in my 30s, but this is part of my dharma. And it probably took me like 4 or 5 months to really feel angry for ways that I was betrayed and people involved. And it was just like, I don't know, but I felt like when things would come up for me, like I was surfing in Puerto Rico, I was just like surfing a perfect point break with my brother, his 40th. And then suddenly 4 months after like an incident had happened with my past relationship, like I just have all this late anger and almost like this punk energy that I hadn't really been able to feel. I felt like, fuck, I just wanted to like be violent to a certain man that had come into the picture, you know, and just all this like rage and like literally having fantasies, thinking about doing damage to a certain guy. And I woke up, I told my brother about like how I'd felt. And it was almost like, it was so glad that I was never physically, you know, violent to a guy, but then it was just parts of me that I'd never really let come through before that I had to, and being like fully in healing, fully embrace of like universe, like I want to move through this with grace, and all these parts come up, and anger compared to where the church is like, well, give it to God, and you have this Sky Daddy God Band-Aid solution of like, think on virtuous things, think on good things, think on things of high report. That's all true. But it's like, man, you have to meet with the Hitler within yourself. You have to meet with the Stalin within yourself and be like, these are all parts, all these archetypes are all there. And if I suppress any of it, it's going to come out weirdly in some other weird bent way in my life. And so, because I am known for being kind and known for being like radically optimistic, but then it's like if I can't be real with all my emotions and I can't fully move through my dharma and through the full width and the depth of that healing. Yeah,
it's interesting for men because I feel for me and for a lot of men, feeling anger and feeling rage is actually not societally okay. But I think it's because a lot of men spill out that anger and that pain in unhealthy ways rather than actually speaking to other brothers or sitting with yourself and actually feeling the pain and letting it out, you know, really like being open about it. What did you do then when you was, you know, the first 4 months of not feeling the anger and then the anger came? How did you process that? How did you deal with that rage of wanting to physically hurt someone to then, you know, finding your peace?
Yeah, we're just talking to my best friend and my primary confidant and comrade, my brother Jonathan Otto. Like, it's amazing when you bring it to the sacred brotherhood, how much there is just a self-soothing that just happens. And there's like such a sacred union that you have with your close spiritual brothers, that there is like a lack of judgment and an understanding of like, I see you and I feel you and I empathize and I am you. And I do know how that feels. And it's like, but when you are with certain vibrational humans, it's like, you don't need to take it out on some guy at a club. You fucking looked at him, you know, it's just like, but you can understand where this kind of, it's all like these, like, there's these gaps within ourselves and like our lack of rite of passage and our lack of ritual and our lack of ceremony that has led us in these places where we feel rage, but it's really confusing. I remember one thing that I did do, like on my wedding anniversary, I got 20 guys around, you know, in the heat of everything. And I requested in the group text that I wanted to fight one of my mates. Like I wanted to be able to wrestle someone, not fist fight, not gloves fight, not be in the ring, but just I wanted to be able to lean into a bit of that rage. And my mate Kyle came forward. He's like, dude, I would love to wrestle you. So after coming out of the water, like I just picked him up. He picked me up and we just had a tussle to tap into some of that more primal rage. Oh, this is so gay. You know, like, nah, bro, like this is like, we're so sanitized in this society. Like as guys, we're told to sit down in an office for 6 to 9 hours a day, laptop in a little cubicle thing. And then we have all these things and we're so disconnected from nature. We're so disconnected from this and just from the torsion and the tension. And then suddenly when we are triggered, we take it out on people.
Yeah.
Like our removal from the elements and from the brotherhood and from just the grit of life and trying to understand that in the modern age is like tricky, you know, but you just... It just matters so much who you're surrounding yourself by, because it's like you can go through a breakup or you can go through a breakthrough. And it's like, it's so easy when you do feel so fucking wounded from this situation to want to be like, I'm going to break down and it's going to lead me to go to Mexico and get a bunch of hookers and bags. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what some of our friends have done and do. Or it can be like, this breakdown is going to lead to my freaking breakthrough. And this is like the greatest golden invitation of my life from God. And I chose this on a fucked up plane. I chose this and I'm going to move through it with grace, you know, for my ex, for myself. And like, what is in it for me that is going to make me really up level and destroy a part of me that needed to be destroyed. I think it was Kafka that wrote, or Dostoevsky that wrote, I needed to be in love so it could destroy the person that I used to be. Yeah. Whereas like Kafka, on the other hand, is like, I ran from love because I knew it would destroy me. And it's like, no, run to love because there's something in it, there's something in you that it actually, the humbling of it, the ego collapse. And like, I needed this freaking thing and my beautiful ex-wife to fucking humble me in this moment so that I could go to a next level in myself that was actually going to be more in alignment and more in my authentic truth.
Do you know what that part was of you that you had to die from or leave behind through that relationship? Did you come to a conclusion on that?
Yeah, man. Like, I feel like I've just kind of, one thing that I really identified is that like I naturally, like I'm such a lover and I feel like more than like I've been through party scenes and things but like I lost my virginity at 30, but I've always been in relationships. I've always been like a deep lover and a deep like committed dude. And I've been in open relationships, been in this and whatever, but it's just like, I've noticed a pattern where like I've been like addicted to love and part of that comes with love bombing and like pedestaling back and forth. And like the intoxication of being like deified for a moment from the feminine form, like, and how much that became like my MDMA, and these patterns of like choosing and being in things because it felt so good and it was good for a brand. And I think just seeing my addiction to women in a way even within relationship, that was still me betraying a part of myself and me actually probably needing to really go deeper into myself to kind of find who I actually was. But I've always just been in these connections, and like unresolved shit goes to the next one. Lover. I'm such a lover. But with that comes this shadow of unresolvedness and unhealed masculine gaps and, like tears in my armor, you know? That was part of it.
Yeah.
I think like there's like destroying a part of me that within my like anxious attachment, like from growing up with my father, and like what I've learnt with my attachment is like I'm such a pleaser, and I need someone to love me. Like was something that I learned coming through my divorce. Like I need like, but if you're gone, then like who, you know, like can I really sit with this? That was a huge thing that needed to die. But I think like, man, like this whole thing of like building a brand around like rock star energy, like it's kind of like you almost like part of it is like, I'm so proud of this and this is so good for my freaking like rock star brand energy of like, if I don't have you. And so seeing a lot of those insecurities under all the layers of being and being like, who is Billy Otto outside the church, outside of marriage, outside even music? Like really, when I really come back to my heart space, and I'm just like beyond a red carpet and beyond like a record deal and beyond having a hot wife, full ego collapse. And I feel like that is just that beautiful spot where you, and then if you like back away from like relationships and like take time off women and you go sober, like you kind of come into this place where you're forced to face all of yourself. Like that is the most courageous question to ask is, how much of myself do I really want to know? The beautiful and the grotesque, the angels, the demons, the Jesus, the Satan, all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to dive into a bit of your kind of upbringing, because you've quoted before that you come from kind of, you was brought up in a cult and a very Christian kind of background. And you was a pastor at one point. I'm just wondering what your relationship with God was then and how it is now, because there's been a lot of changes from when you was younger to now. So just curious.
Yeah, man, I grew up in the Seventh-day Adventist church. Like I still like, to all like the church listeners out there, like I love church. For me, it still feels like this homing beacon that kind of calls me home in this like cool, nostalgic village-like way. And I grew up in a really creative, awesome family. And at my church was where I really learned how to like love music, play a lot of instruments, sing in choirs, be at summer camps. Like in so many ways, like I'm so grateful that I didn't grow up in like a bikie family. I had so much safety in so many ways growing up in a really conservative Christian home, you know? And I loved the fact that I existed for the people more than just needing like attention. Like so much of music feels really narcissistic. Come to my show, buy my merch. Am I still relevant? Do you like my songs? But church really is like, you're with older people, you're with kids, you're with people your own age, you're with weird people, uncool people, cool people. And it is about like a higher power. It's about serving. Something that I miss every day is that energy. And it's so hard to find that when people leave church. They're like you can find it a bit in the Doof community, a bit in like the Kirtan community, run clubs, but there's nothing like the unconditional love to a point of what church can give you and the support that you feel. So I got really conservative when I was like 18 from going to like a conservative Seventh-day Adventist conference in Melbourne. And that's what set me on this trajectory for like the next 10 years of like, for a few of those years, I felt like rock music was the devil, like very against gay marriage, like finding any, like I remember at my graduation, like giving like a bit of a sermon that no one asked for, like that kind of embarrassing, like I'm the evangelist. And my grandfather was a really famous evangelist who had my name, Pastor Billy Otto. And so I just kind of, my dad's name's Billy Otto. I'm Billy Otto. So it was almost like this mantle. I started studying theology 50 years after my grandfather had studied theology at the same institution. So there's just kind of like all these weird serendipitous synchronicities that made me feel like this is a full body yes. And this is what's confusing, because it's like who I was 20 years ago or 10 years ago is so different to who I am now. But like I fully felt it in the core of my being that this was my truth.
Yeah.
Like complete conviction of like, I will fucking die on this hill for my God. I was sacrificed. Like I invested like 50 grand of like university fees into my theology degree as like a 21-year-old.
Wow.
Like that devotion and that commitment, it wasn't just a feeling that I had. And that's when I get like criticized. If you only knew Jesus, then you wouldn't be like this anymore, the rock star billionaire. And I'm like, bro, I was so all in. I was just traveling the world. I was preaching in the Philippines, Brazil, Sweden, like Canada, like everywhere. And then I got offered a gig to like be a full-time pastor in Chicago. And it's hard because it's like, I've said it before, like you get put up as this poster boy for a while. It's like you're like this country town hero in like a denominational sense, and you're getting flown around and you're like, your family's micro famous in this like thing. Like it's the denomination's got like 20 million people.
Wow.
So it's like you get flown around, you're in all these things, but then it's like when you start actually questioning and being curious about actually things that are now coming through and where you might have graduated from like an older belief, that's where it gets really tricky. And so the feeling that I knew that I was going to lose my relationship with my father if I left probably kept me in the church for way longer than what I needed to be.
Yeah.
I remember being on this tour in Brazil, singing at all these like churches and events in front of thousands, but being in like Airbnbs, studying like Richard Dawkins, like the God delusion. Like I was so curious because I felt like there were gaps in my story, that my story was getting smaller and smaller the more that I just traveled and opened myself up to the world at like 26, 27. I remember meeting like the coolest cats at like hostels and stuff in South America and in Europe and in Africa that were just so generous, kind, cool, open-minded, that weren't Christian. But in your like Christian program, and you're like, you only have happiness if you have Jesus. You only have kindness if you have Jesus. You only have generosity if you have Jesus. But these guys had all these things and I almost had nothing to sell them anymore.
Yeah.
And that was probably part of the glitch in my matrix, was just like, wait, and then it was almost like downloading Apple and Microsoft at the same time of like, but they're so cool and I resonate, but they're not part of the truth. They're not going to go to heaven. I've got to tell them about heaven, but no, but like that feels unnatural.
Yeah.
Like I fucking didn't even learn about intuition until I was like 30 years old. Like I didn't know what it even meant because the programming was so much like, don't feel, go to the Bible and ask God. And that's what I'm saying when I'm like, even that programming is like so for me, so intentional to cut me off from my actual divinity, but I'm using all the divine language. But it's almost like I was stuck at the door. It's like seeing a mansion and fucking looking at the door and going, this is the sickest door. Look at these handles. Wow, look at the doormat. Wow. You haven't even gone through it. They call Christ the door in the New Testament. But if he's the door, you go through it and then you actually feel the interior of the mansion, like that $10 million place, you go inside. And I feel like a lot of Christians and people in religions get stuck at the door of these archetypes instead of walking through all access pass into the heart of God.
Wow.
And that's why I just feel like it's like, it's talked about in the New Testament that Saul became Paul, who wrote most of the New Testament, when the scales came off his eyes. Like he opened up his eyes and saw the divine. And there is, I feel like, a transcendental moment, a mystical moment that I felt at a certain point where I was just like, it's been before me all along. And I knew the scaffolding of it, but I hadn't actually been immersed in it for myself, of what it actually means to be in Christ consciousness, in the divine. No middleman, no pope, no church, no guru, all access pass.
And you had to step away from that environment to realize that.
Yeah.
What was it that made you step away? Because I know you said you felt like if you stepped away from that, you would lose your relationship with your dad. What made you feel that way?
It's weird. 2020 was just this thing of like everything was going down in the world as we know. I didn't get the jab. I was like navigating my life. Oh my God. Cancelled. No, it's cool now.
yeah, that's so cool.
No, but I was living in Sydney, and it was almost like I was like too in proximity with my family and my old Hillsong community as well that I was connected to. I feel like sometimes when you're like such close proxy to like your old way and the comfort of that, it's hard to really make a quantum leap within yourself. And it took me like fully moving to Byron Bay, like in the middle of lockdown, kind of illegally, and like being around, for me at the time, it was the most open-minded community that I'd ever been a part of. And even though like every part of the world has its like highs and lows, like mountains and valleys, it's like what I love about Byron so much and why it will always be my spiritual home is because it was the first place that was curious about my questions and I could be curious about others. And it was just like, wow, I haven't seen that, the mirroring, the openness, the questions that I hadn't felt brave enough to ask in my old environments. And I was like encouraged to be more weird. So up here, like I was in that space, and then I actually was on a podcast, and then that's what got me cancelled by part of my family and my church community is when I started really asking the questions. Punter's Politics. Yeah. He had an old podcast that was called Ideas Digest. And I fully came out about all my questions. I hadn't done ayahuasca yet, but I was making like, and who knows, I might do psychedelics, might do this, but I'm just questioning everything right now. And I'd just gone through 6 months before that, I actually went through a breakup with my fiance. We had to call off a wedding. I'd started meditating that year before I went to Byron, and I'd gone sober for like 8 months, wasn't sleeping around. I kind of, for the first time in my life, outside Christianity, started to kind of call my energy in. But then moving to Byron was just kind of like this full immersion to fully go in to all of the mess and all of the gold and to actually be honest with myself. My ex, Chrissy, God bless, she's amazing. One of the things that she was saying to me was like, look, you're trying to be a rock star of the world and then you're trying to seem Christian to your parents. You're lying about going to church. I don't trust you anymore. Like for the feminine, like as a guy, like being so split in my integrity. And that's again, like it was glitching. It was like two different softwares. It was just kind of like, it, like, because the way that you do one thing is the way you do everything. Like integrity, like how's that word?
Integrity, yeah.
Like I think the root, like integra, like means like undivided.
Yeah, it's there's one part of you that wants to make your parents proud and happy and
genuinely,
like trying to please them. But then the genuine soul purpose of you started to realize like this is the way you want to go, but you're getting dragged back by that energetic of expectations from family and
because that's the thing, because you come from the tribe and it's so pure. Who doesn't want to make their parents proud? Daddy, you're proud of me.
I left home at 18 and that for my family was heartbreaking and they wanted me to stay, but my soul knew that for me to evolve and grow, I had to leave and I had to cause pain for other people. It was probably is still painful for them now because they want me there, but this is a thing as a parent, which I've learned is my role as a parent is to create the space for them to blossom into who they came into this earth to be, who they came into this vessel to be, you know? And you can try and put things there and see if they evolve from it and see if they click to it and they like it, then keep pushing it. But if you can see that they're not really feeling it, it's your responsibility as a parent to recognize how they're acting, how they're feeling in those moments when they're doing something. So was there a point when you was going to the church where you knew that you just didn't want to do it anymore and you stayed, and then you was just doing it to please your parents for a while?
For sure. And like you can imagine and we've all felt it, like that cognitive dissonance. That's just like, but then it's just, I don't know, man. I feel like when you were speaking just then in like parental terms, it's like, and when you knew that you had to break free from your family for your own growth and evolution as a man, it's almost like for a baby to be born, it's got to go through so much tension. Birth pains, as the Bible says. Coming out the womb, out from the vagina, to have the greatest gift, it has to go through tension.
I think that's the key.
Discomfort. Like,
pain.
Your wife looks like she's dying. There's blood. You know, it's like, but I think it's hard because it's like none of us want to really offend anyone. Like you want people to like you. You want people to know that they're loved by you. And then, but as like the imaginals, like to really fly, like these insects have to go through these stages to break free and out of the cocoon. And it's just like, I don't know, man. It's like when I really look back, I wouldn't change a thing. You grow in discernment, but it's like when I felt shame about losing my relationship with my father, like out of my own expression, I've really tuned into my heart. And also recognized that your soul chose your parents and your soul also came from perfection. Like not to experience more perfection, but to actually experience like the human golden mess. So how to be in that and how to make mistakes and see the beauty of it and the learning. Like huge shifts become these like monuments to me about, okay, part of me, like when I go back to Newcastle, like I grieve again the Christian Billy that I used to be. And it's a moment that I have to move through that. Times where my dad taught me how to fish down there by that lake. Like there's just these things that come back, but necessary shifts and even rifts and even schisms to like, how relentless are you to really find out who you really are? And it will always come at a cost.
Yeah. And
healing is angry. It's painful. It's messy. But what do? You just stay small. Do I just go back to being a high school teacher in my like Christian church and just being in this thing where I'm just like, top to do, keeping like everyone, I'm going to go fucking crazy when I'm trying to be normal because it's just not my flow.
Trying to pretend that that's your sole purpose when it's not.
Dude, when I was 25, I was teaching HSC music. I had an awesome life living in Crescent Head, working at Kempsey at this school. I felt myself aging so fast. When I was just under this stress of like staff meetings with a lot of people that didn't want to be there, a lot of bloated energy, like being on this schedule that just was not my flow as a human. But it's almost like you need to touch these spaces to realize where you actually really do work and where you can like duck and weave and fully dance with life. But it's just, yeah.
So what's your relationship with the church now?
So back to the question.
Do you still go to church or do you still, how do you view the church now?
Yeah. So, I love God. Christians be like, what do you mean by that? I'm just like, no, I really do. Like, I feel like my depth of like embracing of the divine and I feel closer to God than ever. Is God like a sky daddy God judging Santa Claus energy, waiting to give gifts? I don't know. But I feel God energy around you, Matt. I feel it when I'm here on country, surrounded by creation. But I do believe that a lot of church has just been like a huge psyop for sure. It's like, how do you control millions of people without Wi-Fi and like internet messaging and like ads? It's like, it's like make everyone believe the same thing. And then you can control like the Roman Empire, in the year 300 was like, I don't know, it's still like millions of people over like a huge European range, into Africa, into like Spain and like if you can make everyone believe that this Christ man like wasn't just a man, that he was a God man that died for you and was resurrected, and through him you can be ransomed for your sins, come through the church, flagellate yourself. It's flagellation, right?
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, like the whipping.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's a new one for me, that.
Penal substitutionary atonement is this whole thing that like kind of came through the Apostle Paul, where it's like, oh, like God needed a sacrifice to cover sin. It's like, which is crazy because it's like God is this beautiful father, but somehow like in the church, this is just like the wages of sin is death. You deserve to die. Adam and Eve sinned and we inherit that suffering and that sin. And the only way is through divine cosmic child sacrifice of a father who is divine, sending his divine son into the human experience to die. And we must, through this like faithful cannibalism, partake of eating his flesh and his blood weekly and sing these songs to be reunited with Sky Daddy God.
Is that in the Bible?
Well, that's the thing. Like we eat the flesh and the blood like every Sunday in the church. It's just crazy when you really take a step back. You could just be like, if you offended me, if you were racist to me, Maddie, I could just be like, hey, bro, you're a bit racist before, and I thought it'd been uncomfortable. And I'm like, you deserve to say sorry to me for that. And you'd be like, bro, I'm so sorry for making you feel uncomfortable. Like, I didn't mean to be racist. It was just a joke. Cool. I wouldn't make you sacrifice a dove. You know, it's just kind of like, who makes these rules? I think that's just a question that I have for Christians is like, if there's an orchestrator of how the universe works, why do you have to create this whole sin construct and then need for there to be substitution and redemption? Like, surely there's a way just to be like, bro, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, but this whole thing of like, no, but he makes the rules and Jesus needed to die. Like when we read like the Epstein files and stuff, when we read about like child sacrifice and these things that happen. And even like when I was at like an anti-child trafficking conference in America twice, they mentioned that, you know, ritual child sacrifice still happens in parts of Africa, especially in Nigeria. And you're abhorrent. You're like, oh my God, so triggered. So how could anyone do that? You know, because there's a certain power that comes, you know, when you sacrifice a human, there's a certain kind of veneration and, you know, like a power that people receive. And then when we bring it into like a Christ context, like we're like, we had to sacrifice this guy so that this could be pleased and there could be a reunification through blood and like a vindication of God's character through blood. Like it's just crazy to me when you take a step. And then so you have a very violent take on redemption. From it, there had to be blood. We're singing about blood, nothing but the blood of Jesus. God, we need your blood. We need your sacrifice. It's just insanity to me.
That's true.
But if like really coming into a high frequency, like, and like when I start to practice like nonviolent communication to myself and other people, it's like blood ritual needed to happen. I just don't even think that Jesus was about that, man. So coming back to like what I think about church, full meta narrative that I brought out, but it's like bringing it back to this, like, I just think that Jesus was hijacked by empire and by Paul. And I think when you actually go to Jesus, even in the canon of scripture that we have, like the Gospels, even though they have been edited, like books have been left out, scriptures have been changed for sure by like a bunch of white dudes in like 300 AD at the Council of Nicaea. This went down. But it's like, but still, like you read the Beatitudes, like Jesus and the way that he spoke about how you're supposed to treat widows. He never told us to worship him, but he said, like, if you love me, keep my commandments. His commandments were to love your enemies. Like to bless those who curse you. Like it's just such an inversion of empire mentality. Like the radical lengths of grace that you read when you actually go to the Christ man, and his emphasis was not on his death and about what his blood means. His emphasis was on a way, on a modus operandi, a way of being and a frequency, I believe. And if it's true that the kingdom of heaven is within you, it's actually not empire. It's actually not the Romans. It's actually not the Jews building like another temple and conquering the Rome. It's actually like the kingdom of heaven is, and that just changes everything, that there is full access to the divine. And I feel like that was the emphasis that got taken away with this whole thing of like, I'm a fucking sinner. I need this guy. Let's start the holy crusades. Let's take on the Muslims. Let's fight in the name of Jesus Christ. Like the distortion is just insane.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, isn't it? How, like you say, cult-like religions can be. How, you know, the essence of Jesus was, had good intentions, and then it's been Chinese whispered down the track to now, and it's like, is it actually true? Why do we have to do these things? So
Yeah.
I've
because like Jesus even says things like in John 17:3, to know him is eternal life, to know God. It's just like this, it's almost like this Gnostic, like the book of John is quite a Gnostic mystical text. There's so many images in it.
What does Gnostic mean?
It comes from the Greek root of like gnosis. So we have like gnosis, knowing. but it's almost like that's where we get like the foundations of like esoterica and a mystical take on religion. Like the Gnostic side of Islam would be like the Sufis, like the more mystical, connected, God is everywhere, pantheistic views, ritualistic views about God. The Knights Templar took on a lot of these Gnostic things. Rasputin in Russia, like one of the most powerful guys, like the sex cult guy, he's quite a Gnostic teacher about his understanding of Jesus. Not saying he was good, but I do believe that the Gnostic Gospels, I don't know if you've read like the Gospel of Thomas, Gospel of Mary, Gospel of Philip. These are all Gnostic texts that didn't make it into the canon. They were too powerful, man.
Do you think the reason that they keep it out is because they don't actually want people to be in tuned and aligned with themselves?
Yeah. And I'll have like my brother or people that will say that are Christians, yeah, but it's because they didn't align for the rest of scriptures or something. I don't know. Or they were like written after a lot of these other gospels, but I don't know, man. Like the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, bro, she actually has a statement in there where she says that there is no such thing as sin. Could you imagine just that one line alone, what that does to a whole like empirical understanding of, you've built up this whole thing about what Christ is, what he came to do, that he came to bleed for you and for your sins. And then Mary, who some Gnostics say was actually Jesus's wife and his equal and his teacher, he's saying there's no, like the concept of sin is just, it's cooked. Because again, it's like all this language that we put around this fake Jesus makes you feel small and like you're a baddie. And so we have then these teachings of original sin. And so babies are freaking born into the Catholic Church. They need to get sprinkled so they can be redeemed, bro.
What do you mean?
Like babies get baptized in the Catholic Church because they've come into the world sinful.
Oh, right.
That's it. Yeah.
That's why they do the baptisms.
Yeah, exactly, man. So you get covered by the water and the sprinkling. But it's like, I fully believe, man, that a mystical understanding of even babies is like babies come in with divine blessing, like the closest to God.
Yeah.
Even the man Jesus in the scriptures said that religious people, like, actually these kids are closer to heaven than you are. Like there's this purity, like you see the way the babies move and they just like, they're so in tune with source.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see that with my daughter, and I see the only reason that she's going to lose that purity is through either my unresolved traumas and pains, which then leak onto her, or mine and my partner's unresolved pains together that then leaks onto her. I've spoke about this in the past about, with kids, because as parents, you're only trying to do your best, and you're trying not to traumatize them the same way you were traumatized from your parents and grandparents. And it's then this new age way of parenting is like, you're not going to traumatize them that way, but you don't really know how you're going to traumatize them in another way. And this is why life is all about making mistakes, and you're never going to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. It's about living to your truest, authentic self, recognizing where you've fucked up and where you've made mistakes, and being courageous enough to then go, look, that wasn't me and my highest self, and I really could act a lot better from that. Yeah. So,
bro,
it comes back to all the conversations I have. It comes back to oneself of how much are you willing to face your angels and your demons, and how much pain are you willing to face to break generational pain and traumas. Which may end up in you losing a lot of relationships with people that you love, because to do that, you have to break this very hard program which you've been taught from a young age. And when your soul, and when you start attuning to your soul's purpose and attuning to you as a person, you can either listen to that and really step into it, or you can just go back into the same loop cycle and keep other people happy and live an eternal life of unsatisfaction, and your soul will just be crying out, and then you'll just probably leak out and spread energies that are not really authentic to yourself anyway. So
nah, bro, that's so beautiful.
I think
I love it. I was just thinking when you were like, yeah, like how much do you want it? How much do you want to break generational curses? Like how seriously do you take that? You know, like you grow up playing sports. I want to be in that team. I want to, like, how much do you want it? You fucking train hard.
Yeah. People talk a lot, don't
talk
they?
a lot, yeah.
But there's no action. I see it all the time. People,
and I'm fully,
I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, or I really want to stop drinking, I really want to stop smoking. Fucking do it then. I know it's not easy and you're going to go, you know, you're going to start and then you may go back to it, but then it's about, okay, I've gone back to it. How do I feel? Not good. Let's try again. It's not going to take you a minute. You might do it straight away. You might not, but how much do you really want
steps
to change the future of your life, and how much do you want to change the future of your child's life? Because if you stay within these programs which are not serving you and which are really like holding you back, you're only going to then suppress it to your children, and they're going to then learn from you and keep it going and keep it going. So at some point, someone has to face the pain and has to face the trauma. It's a funny word, trauma, by the way, because that's something if you say trauma to, I don't know if it's the same for you, but if you say trauma and pain is in your body to your parents and your grandparents, they look at you like you're fucking crazy. It's like, just get on with it, you know? Just get on with it and just sweep it under the rug kind of thing. But I think that's where the real magic is comes back to healing will make you angry, because you're going to then take a step back and you're going to actually see all this stuff that I've been taught from a child, all these places I've been put in, all these environments, actually are not helping me live my highest life. They're actually teaching me a lot of fear and a lot of lack and a lot of restrictment. And then that creates, you know, the feeling of anger within. Like, how did you feel?
I feel like I just want to speak that because it's just kind of like, why will it make you angry? Because I'm like, fuck, bro, I've been lied to my whole life about who I am and what I'm not, that I'm too much, that asking questions is bad, that experiencing pleasure in your body is bad. You know, there's all these things, like whatever group, cult, community you've come from, there's just like, there's fake history, there's fake news, there's fake space stuff, there's fake vaccines. It's just kind of like, I'm angry at these systems. I'm angry about ideologies that are broken, that were made intentionally to keep me in a fucking matrix box. I'm angry about what I've been fed, like from factory farms and from like these outlets that is just poisoning my body. And, you know, it's all those things as well of just kind of like, what? It's like, it's like you're in Survivor or like in the Hunger Games and you think they're, you know, oh, you're actually not my ally. Oh, I thought you were my, you know, and so there's angry. And then like people leave Christianity and they go in like the tantric scene. And then they realize the same cult stuff is in like tantric fuckboys, you know? And then you're like, oh, but I thought this was my panacea. I thought that was my panacea. I thought this was my release. I feel like when you deify, you tribalize and then you demonize and then you polarize. You go through these things of like worshiping a thing and then you're like, oh, fuck. You go to the next thing. But yeah, I'm just trying to reach a place where it's like I'm not trying to. It's almost like you're addicted to coke or something. You just go into the next scene, like the next fix. But it's just kind of like when you really sit with that anger and you're not just going to the next thing to fill a void again, but actually fully sitting with it and giving space for it and giving space for the discomfort.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when it comes to cults and cultic thinking, like I'm naturally just really good at joining things. I'm good at joining relationships and joining the next thing. Like I went through like a bit of a Wim Hof phase. I went through like a full like environmental activist phase of like, that was like my new church community. I went through like a psychedelics phase, went through a rave phase, went to like this party, you know, I've just been through these things of like experimenting, which is also really fucking beautiful and giving space to that.
Yeah.
Cause it's like, I think I've really felt like I've seen in my last like 10 years, like I'm not someone to just watch the documentary. Like I want to go all in. Like I thought the Jesus thing was fully it and I went all in, touched the wall of like as far as I could go. And then I'm like, oh, actually I really want to go into the music space and then go all in. And then I lost my virginity at 30, but then like 5 years later, like ended up at like massive sex parties.
Wow.
And kind of done that. And then like, you know, been like a monk and then like been on a rampage. I haven't always looked like this. I looked like a freaking librarian 10 years ago, you know? So it's just like,
the tree is talking to you, bro.
But as in, like, it's just so funny, like this game of life, and like the biggest opportunities coming to me right now for music at 38. But it's just like how to kind of be in it and experience like all of the full like technicolor of life, and then find out what actually is your truth in it.
Yeah.
And I do like, and giving grace to that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, something that comes to my mind is, you know, you lost your virginity at 30 years old. Was that a conscious decision?
Yeah. It was like conscious and unconscious. It was like, I'm like, I'll be all in, and like, I really wanted to like save this gift for my wife. I feel like I preached purity culture a lot at summer camps. I remember being like 21 years old and being at summer camps going like, yeah, I haven't masturbated for 3 years and you can do the same, you know? And there was like, I loved like the element of like self-control that I had and how much energy that I had, dude. Imagine just like not wanking for 5 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy, the focus. You get weird, but it was just like...
You get weird.
But I honor like the discipline of just kind of like, I wasn't a slave to my penis, which is good. But with that, I don't know, like I can get kind of like drill sergeant with myself. And I think what got really unhealthy was like a bit of the spiritual pride, but then also like I started to shame my own body. Like I remember, bro, like I looked at like soft porn for the first time in like 5 years when I was like 27 or something. And I felt like I wanted to kill myself.
Really?
Yeah. Like masturbated. Like it was just like.
Is it just you felt shame or?
So much shame. And I felt like I'd let God down and I'd let people down that had like looked up to me because I was on such a streak of just like ducking and weaving and just like, yes, like Sparta for the kingdom. You know, it was just like, and so, bro, it's taken me up to like freaking this year to lose sexual shame in my life.
Wow.
And it's like, I feel like you can go like full monk mode. You know, you're like a friar, you know, it's just like, I'll lock into things. Virginity, 30, felt sexual shame even when I like, you know, made love to my ex in Paris, you know? And then, but just like it's almost like these two extremes of like, there's debauchery and then there's like sexual shame and like trying to find the truth and the layers of these edges and then meeting in a place of like, how do I fully love my body, all of it, every inch, all those inches, mate, every inch, but like literally, because I didn't for so long and just like before going on my streak of like not being like asexual for like 7 years or whatever, I was like looking at porn and stuff. So your education is through pornography, which like fully distorts your understanding of the feminine form and divine feminine energy and women just in general. But then like really outside the cult, outside the church, and now even outside being married now, like how to find that balance and that homeostasis and equilibrium sexually within yourself to fully embrace your body. But then, like, I don't really want to go back to sex parties again. Like, I don't really want to.
Yeah, how was that extreme from going from not having sex for 30 years to then being at sex parties? Like, how did you feel after you experienced your first sex party?
Yeah, bro, like, I don't know. Like, it was in a certain part of a country that like my lineage is connected to, and it's turned into this thing, and it was just obviously like super exciting and whatever. And I feel like there is this like, it is so amazing when you can be so light with like your sexuality and be like, wow, I'm beautiful, he's beautiful, she's beautiful. And like, you know, just so you guys know, like my body count is actually still quite low. Like I haven't just like gone nuts. I haven't gone full. Like,
and even if it wasn't, do you think?
Yeah,
like,
but just to kind of get context to this, because it's like, I've had some wild things and been with some beautiful people, but it's just like, I don't know. I feel like when you first come into that, coming from being like a pastor, it's like, wow, vagina, wow, penis, wow. And I kind of loved how normal bodies became in a way. I think there is this thing of like, I think we all should be naked more. But at the same time, like, I don't feel like casual sex is casual anymore. I don't believe in just, oh, it's just a fucking one night stand. I don't think they're like casual one night stands anymore. I feel like the energy and the chords that you create are so deeper and so karmic. And like, especially for me with my response to like in like oxytocin, it's just kind of like I get so connected with women. I get so like drugged up on them through intercourse, which is why I've had to just fully pull back this year when it comes to like really going into my grief. I'm like, no bang policy.
I honor that,
since
bro.
Since Feb, March was just like, I just made this call when I was in the States. I was like, bro, like, and I want to become like the most safe masculine energy I could be, genuinely. And it gets so blurred when you're around music spaces and dance parties, all these things that I'm involved in because I'm a music producer, artist, but it's just like, I just want to be able to move without feeling goal oriented, you know, like without feeling sex goal oriented when I'm like, I love being able to say to a girl that I'm attracted to, like, by the way, like, I'm not sleeping with people this year anymore. But like, I think you're awesome and can I drop you home? No. You know, and it's just like this, the frequency shifts when.
I think it's needed in this world, bro, because there's a lot of men, like even when I go to the gym, I see a lot of men just like staring at women like hungry little dogs. Like, and I used to be that guy when I lost my virginity at 15 and at 18 started traveling, and my escape was chasing women and chasing external circumstances through drink, through drugs, through travel. And now having a daughter, man, I had to go through a point of feeling real shame and real pain for these women that I'd kind of used in a way, just used their bodies and their essence of love just to fix my pain or just to help me escape my pain a bit more. And since having a daughter, that then made me really look at myself and go, who am I? Why was I doing that? And it only in the past few years, I've really looked at my younger days of life, of me thinking I was traveling the world because I want to see the world and meet cultures and do this. But actually, I was running away from all of my pains that I'd acquired living in the UK, all of my traumas that I acquired from whatever traumas you get from wherever. And it was a hard thing to accept. It's like I was actually so unconscious when I was traveling and doing all these things which I believe were good for me. And they actually were detrimental. The amount of energy I give away to other women, the amount of energy I onboarded from other women, from intertwining with them. And if you're connecting with a woman that's not on your frequency, or they hold some kind of pain or dark kind of energy, it rubs off, you know. And I've started to now honor lovemaking because I made love with my partner now, and we created a child. I witnessed her from making love to then becoming pregnant, to growing a baby, to then giving birth at home, to watching this baby come out of my partner. The amount of pain I saw her, she endured 12 and a half hours of pain with no drugs, no gas and air. And it was the most rite of passage to become a man. And it was the biggest awakening that I've ever been through in my life, to take a look at myself and take a look at women in a completely new way of, wow, I can't believe that before this, I used to view women in a different way. I did still respect women. I was still kind and loving and I had good intentions, but I was acting through a hurt boy. Now I'm a father, and now I've seen that experience, and I've seen a woman give birth. I found a fucking next level respect for women, and I found a new way of looking at women and a new way of treating women. I really want to encourage men listening to this to be very discerning of who you give your energy to and who you actually create intercourse with, because if you have a kid with someone that you don't really like, it's very easy to get people pregnant. And if you get this person pregnant who you don't really like, and you eventually realize that your values aren't aligned, you're not only going to hurt yourself and the person that you're getting pregnant, but that little soul that comes into that vessel that is now part of a broken family, which continues then for generations. And this is how generational trauma starts. It's from adults acting from hurt parts of themselves from little boys and girls, really. And until we can actually like, whatever it may look like, you know, whether it's a breakup, whether it's giving birth, whether it's a catastrophic event which actually makes you go boom.
Yeah.
I need to take a fucking look at myself. I need to align with myself. I need to actually look at all of the shit. That's what people avoid the most, is looking at all of the shit. Yeah. And that's what having a kid did for me. It made me really look at myself and go, what kind of dad do I want to be for this daughter? What kind of partner do I want to be for my future wife? It's like, if I keep acting from these hurt parts of myself that I've not healed, it's only going to affect my daughter. And it's going to then pass down to her generation. So the point is, give your body and yourself a bit more, with a bit more conscious thought, rather than so freely going out there just trying to get laid just for one night.
Yeah, for sure.
So I honor that you waited for 30 years. If I could turn back time, and if I could have that choice of not sleeping with random women for one night, I would do that.
Yeah, and it's bro, everything you're saying, bro, I was getting goosebumps, man. Like it's powerful to hear your testament to reclaiming your sovereignty as a man and honoring the feminine in tangible ways, and seeing the demonstration of love-making creation. Love creation, you know, and just kind of like, it's so beyond just being like a fix, you know, it's just, and that's the thing with hookup culture, it's just like a fix, it's like hitting the line. And how reductive and objectifying that kind of love connection is, and what it actually does to you. The cool thing about being at some of these like play parties and like awesome people that go to some of these things is that I was able to see that, like, you know, one thing that I really honor is that people want to, like, we're so sanitized. How can we enjoy each other? It is very primal, like it's ancestral that we can like be so free, and, you know, we're not supposed to be so like this. And so I can understand the move of it. But like, I remember walking out of an event one time and I was just like, it's just really helping me to become like the father that I want to be one day. And really, like, if I don't even really know this girl's like last name, like what am I doing? Like what do I want to tell my kids? It's just like making the holes in my masculinity even bigger. Like, I don't know. But the good thing is that like I've had to kind of learn how to rebalance out of like seeing extremes, kind of seeing it all, being in it all, and then finding my truth in this place. Like, we need to lose sexual shame.
Yeah.
Without losing our self-control.
Yeah.
You know, and honoring sexual ties, and like, and I feel like when you really do kind of, for me, like when I really like lean in, I'm like, would I get married again? 100%. Like, when I'm really thinking now of like calling in my queen, like I wouldn't want to sleep with her for ages, because I know the impact that intercourse like just has on me, you know, and I feel really high. I make really fast decisions. I get like so infatuated. I deify, idolize, pedestal. And I just want to be able to be like in this frequency again of like gnosis and like connecting on such an intimacy that isn't physical as much as I could. I'm not saying that, you know, like not having fun. It's like, I really would want to think that I could like filter through bullshit by being like, I'm not just going to go down this like booty business funnel for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I can see that within myself, you know, of just, and seeing how I've been actually like diverted in my journey as a man when I've kind of just given into the booty business funnel, you know, like really when I show up in my highest self of Billy, it's like, it's calling me to like really call my sexual energy back in, to channel it into art and to channel it into impact. The minute that I like, if I start the day off, I can just have a wank and just like in this fantasy land, like it really does distort my perception for the rest of the day. Sometimes the next 2 days of just my energy. Like I feel so drained.
Yeah, your testosterone just...
Yeah. And like parts of my abundance.
And not only that, it's all right to obviously pleasure yourself, but it's how you're doing it. If you're watching two people on a screen, that it's like really not how it is. If you can actually do it just from actually loving yourself and honoring that, it's the same with lovemaking, man. It's like if you can find another woman or another partner that you can do that with safely, then go for it. But if you're going out getting smashed on the weekends and you're just taking advantage of a girl that's drunk, and you go home, you have a one night stand, and you can't really remember it the next day, that's going to have more detriment to your health and your sexual energy and your libido and your whole energetic system. So it's what we was talking about before. It's you've got to try things from one extreme, from being at the church to being a rock star. You've got to try both things to then try and then find your balance. And it's the same for me. I like to, as a Gemini mind, I can go to the depths of the darkness and I can go to the heights of the great things. And I like to try this and I like to try that. And then from them experiences, it helps me then align to who I actually want to be and who I want to become. But if you don't try things and you don't test things, how are you ever going to know who you are?
Yeah. Yes.
There's too many people too afraid to try things and too rigid and too like scared of offending someone. And I've made mistakes, and I always make mistakes, and I will always make mistakes, but it's how you like feel after it and actually face that feeling and question it and be curious to like, why do I feel this way?
Yeah.
Where's this coming from? Maybe if I approach this thing the next time, I'm going to try it a little bit differently and then see how you feel.
Yeah.
If you speak a bit too fiery, try and just soften, because that's my thing. I speak with straight to the point. I don't like fluff it up. I just boom.
Unfiltered.
And sometimes it can come across as rude or a bit brutal. So for me, I'm like, all right, well, I've got to think about how I'm making people feel. Although I'm being authentic to me, I still am considerate of how it makes other people feel. So there's a fine balance, isn't there, of not doing enough and not knowing yourself, but then going to the extremes and finding yourself. It's a nice juggle that we was talking about before.
Yeah, because I love, bro, knowing that I've experienced a range. Like I love, for example, like this week I've like consulted a couple of friends creatively on like their projects with like music and with podcasting and the ways that I would position things, like with the narrative, with like the audience reach, key demographic, and a lot of my experience of just reading someone with their journey is because of like I can speak to something because I've come from a range of like creative array of like sexual experience, of like traveled 70 countries, and like you've gone on this crazy Frodo's journey around the world and just made all these weird decisions, mistakes, joys, bliss, dark, and then you come out just going like, I'm still here, I'm healthy, I've got good posture. And now what I can offer my people is like a range of human experience that I have integrated to like a large degree, not fully, but I'm regulating and just being able to be like, because you've been there, you've experienced it, your heart's been broken multiple times and it hurt because it mattered. Wow, you really do feel things. Okay, bring that to the song, and this is what there's, just like, but I feel just so weirdly like wealthy from my experience, even though when I feel like sometimes family can feel like, I feel like sometimes I feel a bit sorry for me or something, or friends can be like, Billy, are you okay? And I'm like, bro, I've got like IP on my and I'm going to use it, alchemize with it. And it's just like it, because it's like its superpower. All this array of experience is fuel, it's fodder to the fire of just exuberance and resilience and courageous art making, and just kind of like the zenith of like what you can actually create,
Yeah.
So yeah, I love speaking to that part of like true alchemy. And that's why like, when my brother-in-law said to me, like, because I was so sad, man, like my ex-wife, bless her, love her, she'd just been like, I don't want to be called your wife anymore. And it set me on this like thing, bro, of just like, I could feel like the one thing that I loved, so proud of, was like being stripped from me. And I remember calling my brother-in-law, just being like, bro, I'm so embarrassed. I feel so much shame. Like, why didn't I slow down? I feel like I'm losing. Like, I feel like a loser. Like, oh. And he just said to me, Billy, bro, you were all in for love. And there's no shame in that. We love you for it. Keep your heart open, bro. You know, you're doing great. You know, it's like, and, you know, bringing that kind of mentality when you've like, something hasn't fully worked out, or a project failed, and you're like, but I was so excited and you know, it's just, but it's all, man, it's all like, what is like the divine weaving in it all, and where's it actually leading you? And it's like, my greatest songs have honestly come from this breakthrough moment where I'm just getting through the clouds and I'm asking these questions, because it's like, when your back's up against the wall, like, you have to face it.
Powerful, man.
You know, but in the comfort of when things are floating, that's when I've been like leaky with my energy, and that's when I've been like frivolous with my time, and it's been like, this is chill, rockstar living, this is my fucking life, yeah, look where I am. And you just kind of like, but for me, it has been being made redundant from the universe has always come at a pivotal time for my next quantum thing.
Do you have full faith that you've already got your life planned out and you just fully trust God's plan in a way?
No?
Not
at all, yeah. Like the opposite to what you just said.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you want some water, bro?
Yeah. But it's like, because it's like you're a creative, like you feel called to like wide and deep impact, and it's just like, you know, money comes in waves. It's like when you're a creative and you're like a soul trader, like entrepreneurial kind of energy, it's kind of like there's so many things that fall through and then come through, and then you get this email and this opens up this opportunity to play here, and like I do have a full trajectory for my life. Like I'm going to move to LA, fully take it on. Like I'm setting up in America, but like it freaks me out when I'm living too far into the future, because I start getting really like egoic with my comparisons of like, I should have already had 2 houses by now. Like I'm 2 years from 40.
Yeah, should.
You know, all this, but like when I really come back to the present, it sounds so cliche, so boring, but just kind of like when I'm really like, this moment is all we have, I'm being completely faithful with my mind and my resources and showing up for my people, and like my relationship with money loves me. Like I just really try to keep it simple, and I do all the planning that I can, but it's like, I can't fully know where I'm going to be in the next couple of years. Like I was thrown a divorce, but I didn't know it was coming. You know what I mean? Like, so my life had to pivot again, you know? So being springy enough, but being like in your lane, like in the arena enough where you're like, I'm so locked in to what I have to give, and I have the courage to even be disliked for my gift. Like I'm so about this thing. I really want it. I'm hungry. I'm like a great white shark going in for the kill, sniffing blood, just like.
You've got to have that fire energy to be so relentlessly you, to the point where you're willing to trigger people and to not be liked by everyone.
Oh, bro. Yes.
Because what's the point? Otherwise, what's the point in not being the truest, fullest version of you just because David on Instagram might fucking call you gay or something?
Yeah. It's like, Dave Surfboy 69.
You're a bit gay. It's like, all right. Thank you. You know, this is what I mean. It's the same for me. Put yourself out there without. Obviously, you're gonna feel the fears at first, but when you get the reps in, eventually, if you're acting through your truest self and from the heart, and your intentions are good, it doesn't matter who you offend, because you know yourself well enough to know that even if they're offended, that's their shit. Because you can look at yourself and go, am I acting from love? Yes. Am I acting from authenticity? Yes. Am I acting from the truest version of myself? Yes. Yeah. And if you can look at that and there's a no, maybe have a look at that. Be curious. Go, oh, why is David saying this? Maybe I have said something not aligned with myself. But if you know yourself enough and you know, you really feel good about the way that you're presenting yourself and the way that you're putting your message and your service out to the world, it's good that you're going to piss people off because you're actually helping them evolve by triggering them.
You know, bro. Oh, it's so funny. Like, keyboard warrior energy. It's so funny. Like you've probably gone through phases as well where you didn't feel like you were like triggering people as much when you were kind of playing the Matrix game.
Yeah, just
you know, it's like because you were just neutral. You were just like Switzerland. You know, you weren't fully picking a lane. Weren't really speaking your truth. Weren't asking the controversial, provocative questions about the systems of the world, the families that run the world, about men's mental health, vulnerability. You know, it's just kind of like you just keep coasting, floating through. One of my mentors said to me, it's just kind of like, think of skydiving. It's like, if you're actually going to like skydive where you just like jump out, you kind of wait till like the last couple 100 meters to pull the parachute. That's like living on the edge. Or you could pull the parachute out when you jump just out of the plane, you're just floating through. But you're plummeting to the ground. Everyone's kind of freaking out because he's like living on the edge. But then you pull the chute, 300 meters above or whatever, and then everyone's running to you. They're like, how is that, man? You're just ripping through the sky. Old mate's still just floating through. No one's even taking like notice of him. But that's kind of like when I feel when it comes to like, if you're actually going to speak your truth, it's almost like you are like a skydiver who's just living on the edge and just waiting to like the last minute. As far as like you are, like, I don't know, you get all these questions where you're just like, are you being authentic or are you just looking for attention? It's like, I'm like, bruh, I'm a brown dude. I've been given this colonial name that is William James Otto for whatever reason. And you think you know what is my authenticity more than me and you've never met me. You know, I've literally had two guys come up to me like random events in the last month being like, yeah, man, you seem like the loveliest guy, but your content is so like, I just can't, man. I'm just like, what happened to the old Billy? Like what, like the old Kanye? Like Billy 6 years ago that was talking about Jesus and sermons and stuff on his Instagram? Like when people just think that they know your authenticity more than you do, it's like, it's wild, dude.
Yeah.
And it's like, firstly, just acknowledge like everything that you just said, dude. For you, bro, even if you were to trigger me this week from something you share, I'd at least just be like, frick, this guy is courageous enough to go into himself and speak his truth and put it out there, even being willing enough to be like disliked for it. That's huge. And if I'm triggered by it, I'm going to be like, why am I triggered? Why does that make me glitch? Why I feel it in my solar plexus? Oh, something you said, because something is being mirrored back to me that makes me feel uncomfortable about myself that I haven't met and befriended yet. Something about your expression, your freedom is speaking to my unfreedom.
Yeah.
Something about your kindness is speaking to my unkindness. But like, I love you when I really love myself, and I fucking hate you when I still hate parts of myself. I just feel like it's just always like when people feel uncomfortable, I'm just kind of like, bro, that's what we're kind of here to do. We're like disruptors. Jesus went into a temple and just flipped tables.
Yeah.
So what the hell are you doing? And it's just like every trigger, everything or person that makes us feel uncomfortable is like a messenger from heaven to show us where we're not free.
Say that again, sorry.
Every trigger and everyone and everything that makes us feel uncomfortable is an angel messenger from heaven to show us and to reveal to us where we're not free. Oh, Nickelback. Fuck. Bro, why do you get so triggered by an amazing songwriter vocalist who's still selling out stadiums? Like, why? You know what I mean? Oh, man. Or politicians trigger you. Like, even if you're like calling out, like, why? Billy Otto triggers you. Fuck. He's just like, why is he so happy? Like, he's always around hot people. He just talks about emotion. It's gay. Like, music feels just too poppy. Like, so he's cringe and you're not. Yeah, like, so you've created this like rubric as to what is cringe and what is not cringe. Awesome, bro. Like, it just gets like really, what are the rules of engagement? Like, maybe like, let's just let people be on their task. Adler, the great psychologist, is like the separate task. My task is to fully be on Billy journey. And what you choose to do, bro, is fully your task and part of your dharma and what you've got to do. And it's going to look a bit different to mine.
For sure.
differentiation. We're like different souls, different beings, but we resonate and we align and we duck and weave. But like, I have to fully just trust that you're courageously on your journey and to honor that and not to feel like I have to helicopter parent in our relationship to try to change you, you know? And so I get way less triggered now.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think when you get to a point where other people can't affect your energetics for the whole day, you've found true power and true contentment within yourself. Yeah, there's going to be people that put stuff out that you don't like. Don't put your energy into it. This energy that we've got within a day is precious. Are you going to spend it on things that you can't control? Or you're going to actually put it into things that are going to help you grow and help your family and help your situation. So I think people waste energy too much focusing on other people and other things that are out of their control. But then it comes to a point, I know we spoke about this before, you know, when you're around certain people, whether it be family or friends, like even friends from back in the day that you've known for years, and you know, Billy 6 years ago is completely different to who Billy is now. And people don't see the pain and the work that you've been doing within them 6 years, but they still see you as the Billy from 6 years ago. I don't know if that's something you deal with, but what I've been through in the past few years from having a child, nobody has seen the journey of what that entails, but they still see me as this young Matt from England or this young Matt from 3-4 years ago. And it's like, you don't fully know who I am now. Yeah, I am still me, but the things that I've let go of and the things I've learned within them 3 years through a lot of pain and a lot of going inwards, I'm a different person. And what I hope for is that people that once knew me for that person before are open enough to then see me in this new version of power, and rather than trying to pull me back down to that low vibrational version of myself. I don't know if that's something you experience where, you know, you're leveling up, but there's still people, friends and family that are trying to bring you back down. And
and even when you're around those scenes, you kind of feel like you have to kind of self-censor again about things that you're actually feeling, like you're filtering parts of yourself that are actually really true to you. You're being held in like an old standard.
And at what point do you decide that, you know what, this friendship, this relationship is no longer serving me or my family in a healthy way? At what point do you cut the ties?
Yeah, for sure, man. Because when it comes to family and stuff, I feel like you got to be like, I was saying to you before, it's like, I feel like people, even within like relationships and whatever, like people are so quick at the moment to cut people out. It's like we have such an emphasis even in the spiritual community around freedom, your personal freedom, your personal peace, but it's come at an expense to our sense of devotion. Like, what is this divine balance between freedom and devotion? I'm devoted to you, bro. Yeah, I felt uncomfortable before. We moved through it. Did something again. But I value so much so I can move through it. You know, I feel like this whole thing for like my comforts, my needs, what I need, the myth of the individual, you know, that's very much, I don't know, like I feel like we're made for people, and it's just like when it comes to your blood family, like go down that hill, like go to the nth, man.
But what if the other person isn't willing to go there?
I know, because I've got that with my old man. It's kind of like at some point, like I just had to grieve that death and love from afar, for sure. When there's no accountability and there's no taking responsibility, there's like no empathy, there's zero reciprocity over like a 10-year period is like really damaging. I think you've got to really set yourself free. Yeah. Have you felt that? It's like everyone's got their own kind of bandwidth with it, I guess.
Yeah. I used to be a bit quicker to wanting to cut things off, but now when I feel conflict or when I see someone come at me with a bit of poison or a dagger of whatever they're going through, at first I feel hurt, but then I actually feel compassion for these people, because I'd realized the most angriest and hurtful people are the ones that are hurting most themselves, that need love and they need guidance and they need mentors in their life to help them kind of open the heart.
Yeah.
So there's a part of me that wants to protect my energy, which I do, and I set healthy boundaries and I make it clear, like, look, I'm looking for people that support me in this journey of my life, and I'm looking for people that I've got my back, and I'm looking for people that I can fucking trust. And if you continue to show me that you can, and you don't make any changes, and I don't see any progression, there's going to be no relationship. I have no problem with saying goodbye to people, even if I've known you for 15 years. It doesn't matter if we're growing as individuals. Some people decide to stay comfortable and decide not to grow. Other people decide to face what they need to grow. And we're like frequencies, man. If you're trying to connect with someone that you used to connect with when your frequency was down here and you've gone up to this level and they're still down here, it's like a radio. It's like there's no real connection. So unless...
But at the same time, man, with that, it's like in like a freaking choir, there's low frequencies and there's high frequencies, but they still get along. There's baritone and there's soprano. I think I do agree with you, but there is like this thing of like, we can lean into like spiritual superiority when it comes to like, what if old mate, you know, that you have known for 15 years has freaking saved your life 15 years ago? You know what I mean? I just feel like there's so much nuance and there has to be grace.
Yeah, we forget.
You know what I mean? Because it's like we do go on these spiritual journeys and these ventures and we're like fully opening up, evolving, and like the most of the world isn't like this. You know, it probably is like that 5% that is in that vibration of like conscious awareness, you know, source connected vibe. I don't know. That sounds probably really cocky to say, but you know, but how do people that have really been there for you, like that is my question of like, that have really been like, but bro, like we've been through so much and like, I know that I'm still on the bags and beers doing my own life, but I still want you in my life. You know?
It's a tough one, that, isn't it? It's a tough one because the person I was back in the day drinking and doing whatever else were the people that I met in that energy. Now, a life of sobriety and creation, I find it like hard to resonate. I find it hard to kind of like conversate with these people because it's just a completely different interest to what my life is right now. And I feel... you know, you are a product of who you surround yourself with and the environment you're in. If I then decide to start hanging out with my mate from 15 years ago and he's still doing coke and drinking, and whatever he speaks about there, that energy is actually going to come to me, and I'm actually going to be taking it on subconsciously anyway. So it's like, I can be there for you. And really, I feel people like that need help. I do. I really feel sorry for people that are really addicted to drinking and doing drugs, because ultimately I feel they're masking it. Yeah, sometimes it's for fun, but ultimately you're avoiding facing what's real and painful. And that I see that in a lot of men in the UK. I see it a lot of men here. I see it in a lot of places, and it's something I'm still trying to navigate, because I do still love these people, but I really, really want them to see how damaging it is to do this every week. And I really want them to start to find the self-discipline and the self-courage to have some self-control, you know, self-control to say no to what's detrimental to their energy, what's detrimental to their evolution. So that's something I had to work through. Is I want to help people, but I can't force them to change. And I can only focus on me and how I act, and I can lead by example, which comes with its own things. People are like, oh, who do you think you are? You know, you think you're God or something because you've had a kid or whatever, and you've been through pain. Or it's not that. It's not. It's just, I know I've been there, and I've been in the numbness of drinking and smoking and having sex and mindlessly doing things that aren't good for me. And I've come out the other side of having a child, finding sobriety, finding health, finding good, healthy men and women around me, and being in a good community vibe with, you know, safety to feel. Which I think a lot of people don't have, is that support system. So,
no, it's good, bro.
I don't know the answer to it. And I really, the only thing I can think of is that I just need to keep going on my journey and, you know, improving my mind, my body, my energy. And then hopefully these people that are stuck in this loop of destruction, I'd call it, or avoidance can then maybe listen to this conversation. Someone might listen to it and go, you know what? I'm going to try and not drink for a week or a month. And that could be the start of their transformation.
Yeah. I was just thinking to that of just like, bro, like the red pilling life, like there is a move of a lot of people that have red pilled for a long time and now like becoming more normal again, that have really been in spiritual communities. There's so much of it online. I don't know. It's like trying to find this thing of like, you know how like Ram Dass said, like, oh, he has this statement where he's just like, I realized that I was just like on LSD and I was high all the time. I was just in the astral. And then he had this word that came to him that said, your soul came here to be human, not to be in the astral plane. You know, of like how to fully like exist as a human, or how to even like have a beer consciously and really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because I'm just speaking to something that I see myself with like going hardcore with like abstinence and sobriety, but then becoming like also a bit disembodied and becoming more critical naturally of myself and other people. Than like, I'm just saying, edge within, finding the edge as well of just kind of like, you know, and especially speaking from my experience like today, like of just like having this like wild extremes, and then just like, it's almost healthier in some ways for me to have a beer like once a week, you know, as far as like to kind of be able to be like, because I can get so drill sergeant about my spirituality, about my practice, and get like,
I think
and then like what happens sometimes in abstinence and like hard spiritual community as well is that you do grow a bit of like a messiah complex or like savior complex with people that aren't on that level. That can feel really judgy. I'm not saying that I'm worried about being disliked in that way, but it's just like just parts of myself that I do see in this conversation that come up of like having like pivoted around that. And, you know, like when it comes to samurai warriors, like they're the greatest warriors in the world, but they still studied poetry. They still studied like art as well, you know? So just kind of like, I'm just talking about like the polarity of just being human man 2026 as a spiritual man.
Yeah, I do hear you on that, because I have had to go through a journey of, you know, from drinking to then my personality is, if I want to do it, I wake up the next day and I'm cold turkey. I don't like, oh, I'm just going to wean off it. I'm off and that's it. And I've made the decision. I'm doing it. And I have gone through times where, you know, I see people drinking and they're getting smashed, and I feel like I can't be near that. But that's just, for me, I think it's personality types. Like, I do see what you're saying. Like, you can have a drink consciously with a friend to connect socially, and that can actually be healthy. It's if you're then getting blind drunk and you're allowing these spirits to come into you, and then you leak out all of your shit and your trauma and your pain in a very toxic way. That's what I don't like. But if you've got self-control and you can like recognize, I've had too many drinks, maybe I'll have some water so I don't actually cause chaos around the world, then fair enough. There's a healthy way. But I think if something has a hold of you, like you need to have a drink every day, or you need to have weed every day, or you need it to sleep, or whatever your fix is, that's not very healthy. You need it and you rely on it. I don't think it's healthy. And I think you've got to take control of that so nothing can control you. You know, you don't need anything, but you choose to have it when you want to. But again, it's the same. You go cold turkey, and you know you miss out on opportunities to go and see your friends because they're at the pub, and you don't want to be at the pub because. But if you've got enough self-control and self-confidence to go to the pub, have one beer, or even drink an alcohol-free beer and get fucking bullied for it, do it. So I get what you're saying. It's a fine line of who do I want to be surrounded by, and I don't really want to go to pubs, to be honest. Every now and again, I'll go watch some music and, you know, maybe have a beer. But ultimately, I've got other goals that I want to focus on, and it kind of like, I think it's
amazing to kind of come to that place of like, it's not saying if something's like good or bad. It's kind of like, I realized, you know, going to Danny's thing on Saturday night instead of just going to another big kind of club event, I really wanted to feel nourished by music and not be around druggy kind of things and not be around a crazy late night. Like, I wanted to feel nourished, or I wanted to be in the studio. It was kind of like, I've literally, like, the other week, instead of going to a friend's 40th in Newcastle, sounds really random, I stayed home and I finished a track, just me, the studio, and just, I want to be more of a creator than a consumer, you know, and I feel like sometimes that balance goes out of whack with, like, I think just this allure for experience and this FOMO of, like, what am I missing out if I don't drink, if I don't go to that, or just like, but I'm like, I don't want to just be there on the freaking dance floor all the time. Like, I've done my time, you know, doing some sick dance moves and feeling hot energy, but then it's like, I want to be the frequency holder of that music. I want to create my own communities. I want to, like, hold the bar of where I want, like, the vibes to be, and just, and be, what is it, like, are you a thermometer or thermostat? You know, like, setting the temperature, you know, and, but yeah, it's like, I love seeing it in my friends when I do see them, like, locking in to really what they want to do outside just experiencing, traveling, doing this, like, really being like, but it does take sacrifice.
Yeah.
It's not in this way of, like, this is Sparta. It's kind of like with music, man, if you really want to break through and make those bangers, like, you have to want it so much. And sometimes when I'm around musicians and I can kind of see that they're so talented, but if you're not showing up for the craft and really writing, like, every day or every other day, and in it curating content, like, getting in these rooms, you know, pitching, like, it's just like, it's just never going to work. And it's a principle that you have to kind of just spill over to other parts of your life as well. Like, how much do I want this?
What comes
and
to
it's
me?
like, time is like your greatest currency.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, really, when you break it down, it's just like, especially in a place like Byron Bay, like, you're constantly, like, you get invited to a lot of things and everything's just so social and it's just so awesome. But then it's just, like, also taking a lot of time that I could really just be investing in building a legacy for my family.
Yeah, and that comes back down to people pleasing. How much are you willing to say no to things, even if it upsets someone that's invited you to do something? How much are you willing? How hungry are you to get what you want, you know, in a savage yet respectable way?
Yeah, bro.
But then again, it comes back to, you know, this artist who's amazing, who doesn't put himself out there enough. He might not have a good group of people around him supporting him. He might not have people going, you are fucking incredible. If you just focus on this, and this, you could take it to this level. He might have people that are just, not really supportive or not really mentoring him in a good way. He might not have that knowledge. So, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. I think as a man, it's sometimes just so hard to know. I wanted to speak to this actually of, like, you can kind of understand why, like, a lot of guys go full, like, manosphere, Andrew Tate. You know, I feel like so many guys, I think we need to really speak to this because it's like, it's such a conversation right now in the West, but it's just, there's a lot of man hating and men don't go up to women anymore and ask them if they can buy a drink because they're just, like, nervous about getting filmed and getting rejected.
And women are just using men to buy them drinks as well.
Using them drinks, yeah. But then women complain that men are so, like, nonchalant and aren't forward enough. But it's just, I think there's just, like, a thing that you feel within yourself as a man where you just feel like my fucking sword and my armor is on the ground. And you don't really know what you're fighting for. Like, you want to be able to, like, sit with a cause and, like, go the 9 yards, but then it's just, then you look at guys like Andrew Tate and, like, what's going on with, like, you know, you need a trad wife, and you can understand why there's, like, a tangible definition of what masculinity is. And UFC and owning, like, a tech company, being in crypto and just, like, all of that, but it's also void of a lot of spirit and, you know, but then, like, but is it a better solution than dudes just feeling really lost and freaking unempowered? And the integrated man. I'm still trying to figure out what that is. That's why I'm asking. I'm not claiming to be that, but I'm just like,
it's an interesting time for a man in this modern day to be like, what is a healthy masculine? What does it look like?
Yeah.
What does a healthy masculine look like?
Yeah.
What does it look like to you? What if in your mind, what do you believe it to be?
Oh man, I feel like dudes that are really acquainted with their anima is like massive, you know? It's like when there's a cool uncle at a Christmas who is the alpha and the guy, he's a gentleman, he's a gentle man. He's acquainted with the feminine part of his soul, which Carl Jung called the anima. And it's just like guys that are balanced with like their strength and their softness, with their like heart and their mind, you know, like it's just in this, like the polarity makes men really magnetic when they're so in balance with polarity. It's guys that can commit, you know, it's like, I think that's a huge, like beautiful part about men that are in their truth. They can really like lock into a business. They can lock into a woman. Their sense of resilience. Like for me, like I just know when I have my morning routine back and when I'm journaling and going to the gym and being in nature, like I feel so much more balanced as a man just in general. A lot of my weird insecurity, anxiety dissipates. When I'm in the studio a lot, I feel so empowered. It's like I know that I'm fully in what I'm supposed to be doing when I'm doing a lot of music. I feel like when you've got like men that feel like they're on their purpose, like that is such a vibe, you know? But yeah, I think it's just like the toxic side of, or the shadow side of the masculine is control, is manipulation, is reactivity. And yeah. Because it's funny, even when a guy, like for example, goes like, I saw the way you looked at my woman, and like punches a guy in the face, glasses him with a bottle. It's actually a weird kind of like chaotic feminine response.
Yeah, because you're acting.
Because it's just acting, yeah. Because it's not
reacting.
Reacting. It's just like, it's like the minutia, like the ocean, like the move. Like it's just like,
But a stoic
instead
man
of
would
just
be
being like, because really like, and we've all been in like weird situations like that, but really when you are in your grounded, aligned masculine self, like violence is like option number 23 on like a ladder of things, you know? It's like, it's really your posture.
It's like,
listening, observing. Yeah. So
I know my wife's hot, and I would look at her that way as well, because she's incredible and not being affected by other people. I think that's where true healthy masculinity stands, is being in control of yourself, not letting external events fully take you from your calm and your, you know, center, but also knowing when to set boundaries and when to step into that healthy masculine of, look, I don't really appreciate that and I don't want to be around that with love. So yeah, I think you're right. The polarity of being tapped into the masculine of, you know, provider. I mean, that's an interesting word as well, provider, but I do feel there's some sense of that as a man to provide for the family, provide for the child, whether that not just be money, but it'll be an emotional security, and that'll be a space of safety. That's also providing. But yeah, being not leaking your toxic or your pains onto people because you've not actually dealt with them and you've not worked from them. I think having stability as a man is important, to the fact where you're doing the things you need to do, so you're not leaking onto people, or you're not reactive to certain events, and you're untouchable. I think that's healthy masculine, being untouchable, but knowing that if you need to, you could just roundhouse kick someone in the face and knock them out if you had to protect your family. That's what I believe. I can't roundhouse kick to the face. I reckon I could try.
But we're like shorter kings, man. You just gotta like go in low. You gotta like strike hard, strike first. I've kind of thought about it in like places like in LA and New York where I felt like shady energy.
Yeah.
When you're like traveling with your gear and stuff in like subways, which is like, if you had to, still being able to tap into that if you had to.
Yeah. Imagine not being able to.
Yeah.
I think about it with my family. I'm like, imagine if I don't know how to protect myself or my family in a moment of danger. That's not very masculine. I feel like you've got to at least go to some boxing classes, go to some martial arts classes, learn how to, use your body as a weapon if needed. And I don't there's a part of me that doesn't like to attract that energy because I don't ever want to do that. But I also want to be prepared because this world is a fucking weird place at times. And it's, growing up in Manchester, fortunately, I'm pretty good at running fast. Like if I need to, I'm pretty good at running. But I've also learned how to protect myself as well if I need to. But at the same time, I operate with love, and violence is the very last solution. I'd rather just go, look, mate, let's just talk it out. But you never know who you're dealing with. But I think once you start to raise your vibration and once you start to recognize your thoughts and what you focus on, you don't attract that anyway.
Yeah.
You know, the most times I've had fights is when I'm out drinking.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped drinking, and I've seen all the damaging effects of drinking in my family, and I've seen it with friends, and I've seen it with a lot of people in England doing drink and drugs. I can see how much it rots the brain and how violence and disaster happens after that. And sometimes you're going to have great nights and you probably won't remember that much. But
dude, I had this one experience because like it's funny, like I'm an artist, but like my favorite movie is Gladiator. I love war movies. Like I study history all the time when I'm like falling asleep or whatever. Like I'm so into like pretty extreme weird masculine shit more than what you'd think. I'm not saying to try and claim this to look less gay, but I'm just like, I'm really into like study, like I was saying, so much about Genghis Khan, like Alexander the Great, Napoleon, like ancient indigenous like rites of passage, like from then, like I'm so fascinated by it. Like I'm a massive researcher into like Nordic Vikings. Like I'm just, because it's just like, I think it's like we've lost a lot of our sense of like ritual and because of that comes confusion. You know, even when it comes to like male beautification, I was saying this to you before, it's like beautification is so ancient for the masculine, like in so many different tribes and cultures, like in Germanic tribes, like you couldn't be beautified until you'd had your first kill on battle. Like we're talking like plattings and like, you know, kind of makeup, tattoos and stuff. And the way that things were embroidered on you, like male beautification is like, was part of Egypt, Greece, barbaric cultures or barbarians in like German lands. And it's just kind of like, it's sometimes like, it's so funny that we just forget that being a man is like a whole spread of things, which is like awesome. It's not just playing football. And then this is masculine, so this is weakness. And this is like, this isn't, I'm just like, no, but vulnerability is your superpower. And yes, going to the gym is really helpful to ground yourself. And yes, like taking care of your hygiene is a spiritual act. And yes, providing for your family is very noble and important and responsible. And yes, owning your shit is like a huge part of the masculine sphere. And yes, being curious enough to like let go of old beliefs, you know, that's powerful as like all these things of being a man and navigating. But I think it's just the big word again, it's just like balance. I had a weird situation like a couple of years ago, man, where this guy had come to me, like this healer, this like Byron healer, he's not here anymore, but like had come to me about one of my podcast episodes and my music, and he's like sat me down and he wants to meet with me. This guy freaking threatens to kill me.
What?
He's like, if you ever mention this thing in like your music or your podcast, like I will kill you. And I'd already kind of felt this weird kind of like masculine tension going into this. Like I picked a place of battle because he was just a bit passive aggressive, violent communication. Like I could just feel something, but I rocked in shirtless with like jeans on at the Roadhouse. I just picked the place. It was just like, I felt comfortable there. I'm like, what does this guy freaking want from me? And already I could feel this, like all these like, he couldn't sit down. He's just so springy. He's like tall. I'm like, bro, what do you want? What do you want? Do you just want to have an arm wrestle? He's like, mate, I'm a head taller than you, mate. You wouldn't stand a chance. You know? Yeah. You know, he's just like all this weird schoolyard shit that I hadn't experienced for like 20 years, bro. I'm like, I've never really been in a fight my whole life. And so I'm not trying to be like, it's tough. Like, I'm not like a Bristol boy from a punk band. I'm like, I've never really been in a fight before, done a bit of Muay Thai, but it was just interesting, just like the instincts that kind of kick in when you're around these kinds of energies and like how to move through. And this guy's so toxic in communication, but I was able to like hold myself But then the manipulation that I experienced, and it was so bizarre. I had to just cut this energy out of my life, but it's just kind of like me learning on how to bring a boundary and defend myself in the midst of my programming of being a people pleaser is really hard. I came in hot being like, this is a boundary, man. Like, don't fuck with me. But then I was like feeling like the bad guy and I was apologizing. And then I realized I'd been tricked and just kind of like being the gentleman, but being the peaceful warrior. It's just so fucking hard to find that balance.
Yeah, and
but I walked away and it fucked up my energy for a while. I didn't write songs or have a podcast for a couple of months because I just felt scared. But moving through my own fears of, fully being myself, owning it, knowing how to protect my energy and knowing what can't fuck with me anymore was just like a massive thing. He was just the test. It's not even about him, but just learning those, really the mirroring. But finding the balance is hard, man. And you can theorize all about until like situations before you and you're like, you've got all these primal instincts, but then you have like your moral north, your North Star that's going like, come back to center,
And how different it could have been if you just like turned into your toxic masculine and picked up a bottle, boom.
I know, dude. Life changes. I'm so glad, and then go to court for it for like an assault. There's so many other things that could have happened.
Yeah. What I'm curious to what triggered him so hard to want to kill you, or want to threat to kill you. What did you say?
I had a podcast that mentioned something that exposed something about.
You can't say it.
Yeah.
He's watching.
It just like exposed his like relationship situation, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was,
Wow.
Yeah. It's funny. But yeah. But here we are, dude. What else do you want to fire, man? Like, where do you want to go? Like, this has been so beautiful, like so whimsical.
Yeah.
I want to tell you, dude, that a couple of things that were coming to me. To all the women out there, to all the men, I just want to say within this, like, this bro cuddle puddle that I've had with the new brother, like, I just want to say that, like, it's such a beautiful and messy thing, like learning to fully become yourself and feeling comfortable with your emotions, having the courage to be disliked, slitting the throat of like your parents' ideas about who you are in the world, and I know how it feels to feel really depressed and to feel so despondent and woebegone and so like lonely as a guy. And I've felt some of these things in the last month, man. Like, just like, not that I live in these things, but boys out there, I just want to tell you that, like, and to even people that look up to me sometimes to be like this, like, radical optimist guy, it's just like, especially moving through grief, if there's anyone out there that's listening to this, like, be okay with the 4 seasons in one day. It's crazy, things that come through, but you're not crazy for feeling those things. Matt, you're not crazy. It's like, it's beautiful, I think, when I can feel this resonance. And guys out there, I just want you to know that you're not alone and that you're so loved and that the world is so much better with you in it. And that another day, another morning is another moment to be reborn and to choose yourself again and to choose life. And that know your strength, know your gentleness, and just dream bigger. Just know that, like, the universe is always listening to what you whisper. Like, for a lot of you and for myself, like, I am my biggest keyboard warrior. And a lot of people, when they think that you're like freaking confident, it's like, oh, you just think you're such. I'm like, bro, like, I fucking keyboard warrior the fuck out of myself all the time. Like, this is cringe. This is cooked. Like, who do you think you are? It's like all that toxic self-talk. Fellas out there, just want to tell you that I know how that feels. Be careful to how you speak to your inner child and to your mind, because your body's always listening as well. Your body's responding to those chemicals and that toxicity. and it permeates every aspect of your life, what you're actually feeding your mind. Yeah. So boys, just want to say I love ya. Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do when you have them keyboard warrior thoughts? How do you obviously becoming aware of them is magic, but also how do you then alchemize it?
I think a massive thing is putting pen to paper.
Yeah.
That's huge for me. I've been doing the 3 pages. I did 2 pages this morning, not 3 pages, but The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, amazing for like first thing you do when you wake up, you just flow state, pure consciousness, everything.
Just write whatever comes up.
I'm so cringe. I'm like, it could be something of prayer. It could be a meditation. It could be like reflective. It could be a diary response, thinking about Peru today and how much ayahuasca changed. It could be this, but it's like what you're doing is that you're actually creating so much more space outside head noise, because it's like this crazy burst of data that's coming through when you first wake up and things you got to do. Like, I miss my mom. I hate my this. I did it, whatever. Like, blue is my favorite color. Metallic could change my life. You know, whatever it is, it's just kind of coming through. And you're like, oh, by the end of it, you're like spaciousness, infinite space. And I can honestly say, man, the impact it has on your mental health when your bar of like head noise and negative self-talk has gone down to this is like astronomical how it impacts your day.
Yeah.
And even like for me as a creative, everyone's creative, but like for me as a writer, some of the coolest weird stuff when I've just followed like my first flow of thought when it comes to poetry, and just, I was actually going to bring my book today because it's just like these things that are coming through when I'm in a place of like non-judgment and space just to flow and move on to the next thing. So it's just, I just want to say to anyone journaling in the morning, but especially on the 3 pages, the first thing that's coming, put it down. And do that over a month and just see like the ripples in your life.
Yeah.
So that's a massive thing, dude, for keyboard warrior thoughts in my mind. I have to sometimes just do, my friend Teddy Emerald, who you've had on, like she got me into tapping, like, even when I was feeling like, I just woke up feeling a bit funky and I just started like tapping my heart when I was on the beach after my morning pages, just like ways to kind of really like fully come back into your body. And like for me, like even when I felt like when there's like really old energy or from like old lovers, like I'm freaking like just like I'm fully scraping energy off my body, just going like, and physically giving impact to my body, just kind of like coming back in, re-embodying. I look fucking crazy, like I know, but it's just like, oh. Or if I just saw someone that really triggered me, for whatever reason, my body went through a bit of a shock and I got like blasted into like a past season of myself. I was just like, oh, breathing it through. But then it's also, I feel like the last thing that I would say is being around a high vibration bro or sis that can kind of help you to kind of be like, I feel like scum, man. Like, I just feel like I can't believe I made that decision a couple of weeks ago. It's coming back to haunt me. Like, is it this, like, and just having someone that can speak into your life that is not competitive with you. You'd be like, bro, it's actually like, there's a whole different way you can reframe that.
Yeah.
You know? And you're like, oh, and you're like, dude, like just, and then what I've learned as well is that speaking to yourself in a way that your friend would speak to you about your situation is a way to kind of flip it as well.
It's like you're speaking to the broken or hurt child within.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? One thing that came to my mind is a lot of people believe that seeking help is a weakness when it's actually a pure strength. You know, we need good mentors and we need good people who have walked the walk and who have walked down that path that you're walking down.
Yeah.
Why not speak to someone who can help you instead of believing that you can do it all by yourself? You know, this is why community and good people to be around is actually super important for happiness and connection. You know, if you don't have that, you can ruminate in your own mind, which can become a very toxic prison, and it can be very hard to decipher which thoughts are serving you and which aren't if you get stuck in that. So to have someone there to help you ground and go, look, let's go into the body a bit and let's just, you know, get out the mind, because the mind is chaotic for me, especially like if I'm not aware of how my thoughts are, then they can take control of my reality. So becoming aware is the first thing for me. Is like, all right, is that thought actually serving me? Why am I thinking so negatively about this? And then being aware and telling myself like, no, I see you within the first few seconds. That's not the way I want to deal with this. And then I tell myself a different story or a different belief. Yeah.
Yes.
So awareness is key.
Yeah, dude, you mentioned rumination.
What did that bring up for you?
Oh, bro, like it's such a, like with rumination comes spiraling, comes like, I feel like for me, like victim shit with rumination. It's just like, if only like, a lot of like suffering from like FOMO stuff with rumination, like what could have been, like that's a huge thing for me, man. It's just, I feel like 70% of my suffering comes from like a weird fractured like FOMO. And that makes me ruminate as to like the dreaming and fantasy around like an opportunity that could have changed your life, like a music opportunity, you know, what could have saved your marriage. And just feeling like that feeling like the boat, like the ship has sailed. And like, instead of fully trusting a closed door, instead of fully trusting that their cruelty is your clarity, their rejection is your redirection, you know, fully. And like the breakdown fully being the greatest invitation for breakthrough. It's kind of like, that is the thing. It's kind of like, bro, like I had a friend say to me, bro, when everything was going down in my life, like, and I was just like on my last thread with like everything going down in my marriage, it was like heavy. And a friend of mine just said to me, like, she was like, bro, like what is for you will chase after you and stay with you. And what is not for you, even if you chase it, it will be taken from you. Yeah.
That's so true.
You know, like really, and it's so much easier to say in like postpartum, you know, after all the birth pains and everything, but it's just like, that stops me from ruminating is like,
it's kind of like
I've really showed up. Sorry?
It's like trusting what's happening. That's for me, when things like happen, I'm trusting that this is supposed to be happening for me to show me the way. Not like trusting the divine and trusting God's plan, but kind of trusting God's plan for me. It's like, this is happening for a reason, and it's how I look at it. I can have a, you know, victimhood, or I can trust it and I can learn from it. And I think they're the two options. Is you can go into victimhood, not saying feeling pain and grief is a victim. That is a necessary part, but then looking at it and trusting like what is coming for me, and trusting that if, you know, you break up and you're supposed to get back maybe in a few years, you might just need some space to grow and evolve together and then come back and it'll come back if it's meant to. I love that quote
for sure.
of what you if you chase something and if it's not meant for you, it'll just go away. And if something's meant for you, it will come to you anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Powerful.
And even if it's not through that event that you missed out on, there'll be another thing like that. If that person or that opportunity is fully for you, like it'll find you in another way. In the same way that if you're supposed to have a particular soul come into reality to be your child, and there's been a miscarriage, like the soul can come back. Like if it's meant for you, you know, it's like, I know so many women that have been like, yeah, like my baby came to me like 3 times before, you know, amidst these miscarriages and these things. But, you know, it's like, it's same with like opportunities. It's just like, and what is like divinely appointed for you will find you. And I even think, bro, like it helps me to kind of like, when I've felt like lost years energy with like giving myself to the church and like all this investment, time, money, spirit, resource, whatever. I'm like, man, like, I was fully in the church thing hardcore for like a lot of my 20s. But what was like the universe like preparing me for? You know, like what was it protecting me from? I can honestly say, bro, that like if I nearly signed to Sony when I was like 19. I feel like if I kind of really hit fame when I was like 21, I feel like I probably would have become like a junkie or something. I don't think I would have been ready to experience attention. you know, like, and who knows, you know, there's always these unknowns and like the way that the spirit leads, but the timeline of my life has had all this technicolor and it's all freaking awesome. And just to kind of trust that even the weird degrees that you studied and the weird relationships that you had that didn't work out, it's like, it's just chipping away. It's like, it's breaking things down. It's creating this great cosmic mosaic and like this beautiful piece of art. And it's like, really, when you do believe in like compost energy, it's kind of like nothing is wasted in the village. Everything goes in the compost with all these cosmic worms, and it's all just doing this and just like birthing and mutating and transmutating into like this thing. Like every 7 years, we're a completely different person on like a biochemical anatomic level. Like we're changing. And so it's kind of like you have fantasies about the person that you used to be or whatever, but it's just kind of like, bro, just fucking roll with it, man. Like it's just... Sometimes recently, man, I've had to just say to some of my mates that are kind of falling into like just getting triggered about everything and just getting a bit victim-y. I'm just like, bro, look at you. Look how good you look. You're so fucking hot. You're so fucking strong, dude. Look what you're moving into. Like, don't think about the lost years. Don't like right now you're here with me and we're talking about this like chat about consciousness, and let's just lean into what's actually happening, you know? Like depression is fully in my family, man. And I can fully, for me, it's more depression than anxiety. And it's one of those chains that I've really had to kind of sit to like break in my orbit, you know? You know, but just this like weird romantic love for a past thing that never really happened, and just this. Yeah.
It's a beautiful way to look at it, because you can sit in the guilt and you can sit in the shame and you can sit in, oh, what if, and this and that, and oh, I should have done this, but it's like, now's all we've got. That's happened. Use your energy wisely moving forwards. Stop sitting so much in the past, which has already been and done and is an unchangeable, uncontrollable. The future is yet to happen. Tomorrow is not promised. Now is all you've got. How are you going to be today? Today's a new day for everyone listening. Tomorrow, today, even now in this moment, when you're hearing this, you can make changes really quickly if you decide to. All it takes is a bit of courage and a bit of self-discipline to just say no to the things that don't serve you and start saying yes to the things that are uncomfortably going to help you grow. And it leads back to healing will make you angry.
The past is an illusion. The future's a concept. It's like, none of it's really real. Like thinking on like an experiential quantum level, like it's so abstract. It's projection of like, oh, what am I going to do? Like you asked me, like, are you set with what you're going to do in 5 years' time? I'm like, it's like,
I don't know.
It's, but all I know, what do you even believe about time or love or anything? I don't know, bro, but I just know that I love this guy. I know that I love me. I know that I'm here. That's what I know to be true right now. I know that I'm feeling sensations under my feet, little twigs and little insects that I'm half crushing, you know, and just like, I know that I'm feeling pretty healthy, and I know that like I'm excited about art, and I know that I've still got these like shadowy parts of me that I'm kind of uncomfortable with. Yeah, I know that. Like, there's only so many things that I know about myself right now. You know, even at the ripe old age of 38, it's like, dude, I don't know about you, but the older that I get, the more I realize I don't really know anything, you know, and that's nice, because like I fully gave into the sin of certainty when I was like 20, where I was just like, I thought I knew the truth about everything when it came to like history, theology, how people should be, like political corruption, or just like relationship advice. I was just this like, I felt like I was just this like fountain of knowledge, man. But like, the more that I'm just shattered and bulldozed and just like beaten and battered and come out surviving, I'm just like, wow, I realize what I don't know, like unlearning, becoming, unbecoming, learning, unlearning, dissolving, rebuilding, create, destroy. It's just kind of like, wow. Yeah. But it's like, I enjoy being in that place of just infinite wonder and knowing who I am enough, but being so open to being wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Challenging all my broken beliefs and things that I've held sacred, my sacred cows. You can't challenge that about you. Can't, just like, but nah, man, just kind of like, come on, be God. So, yeah.
It's been a blessing, and it's been an honor to sit with you and dive into this conversation with you. And, it's funny at the start, you have all these thoughts of like, where's this conversation going to go? But the more I let go and the more I remain present in energetic conversation, the more I feel we can get to the depths. And I think that's a good message in life, is the more presence you can attain in the moment, the more you can feel everything. And it's good to feel everything.
Yeah.
And feel the 4 seasons, feel the ups, feel the downs, but stay true to yourself and just keep going and keep trying all these different things to then eventually align with your soul's purpose.
Yeah.
If you don't try, you're never going to know. And if you don't feel happy, try more things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying. Like and I just want to say, like, speaking to like the manifesting stuff, it's like so many things have opened up to me in like my music space when I've had invitational energy and I've put the first foot forward to make the conversation happen. It's like, and I just want to encourage artists out there, like, it's okay to try. It's okay to actually send the email and pitch yourself and fully believe. I remember posting like a reel this week about me seeing this demo because I'm just like I'm so passionate about the music that I'm making right now, and I'm not going to be chalant about it. I'm going to like chalant max about my music because I believe in it so much. Even if I am delusional, I feel like these beats slap and they ask good questions. I fucking love it, And so it's just like, just want to encourage artists out there, just go all in, and responding, finishing, creating, networking in, and just doing it consciously and being like, I want this to be heard, and this can resonate with hearts. And then I just want to say something to the women, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it. Close this episode with a beautiful message to the women.
Yeah. Oh. Divine feminine beings, the women of the world. We just love you so much. You are the crown of all creation, the apple of our eye. So fascinated, just like a beautiful woman's body. It's just insane, right? It's crazy. However, like the feminine form has just been fashioned. It's just like the most exquisite thing. And I want to speak to single mums. Like, you are the true heroes. The greatest shield maiden warriors are conscious babe single mums that are choosing, themselves and their children and soldiering through and still holding their feminine. I just want to say it's just so inspiring to me that I've witnessed even the last couple of weeks, holding space for my friends that are on that solo path because of their situation. Want to honor you and bless you and just pray all the blessings and abundance of the universe to all the young single mums out there. And to all the women out there that just feel lonely and lost and are longing for a partner. I just pray that you can know the beauty of your heart and the radiance of your soul, and that you won't settle, and that you can call on the greatest king ever. And to all the exes that have taught me so much. I went through this thing, bro. I was just like, gratitude for all my exes, like these divine beings that were brought into my life, and to all my exes that came into my life. I bless you. I bless my wife. I miss you. I love you. I miss being married. And I thank you for showing me things that you needed to show me. through this union, you know? Bless all the families that I've ever connected with through my exes. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Powerful.
Oneness, togetherness, piece by piece, walking each other home. Both wings of the eagle, masculine, feminine energy. Just, yeah. And then we find that within ourselves. But yeah.
I mean, I love that because I've recently done the same with my exes. Is found an appreciation from because we was just learning and we was just children trying to communicate, but not having the knowledge or the skills to do so, and learning from each other. So it's a blessing as much as the pain.
Yeah,
it was. The more pain we experience, the more the heart opens, and just to touch on to mothers. Single mothers especially, because I understand how complex parenting is, and to raise a child in this day and age as a couple is very challenging as it's on its own. But if you're a single mother raising a child, I have so much respect so much love towards these women that are putting themselves and giving themselves to these children. They literally every day
true godliness, man, and spirituality is that.
Yeah.
It's beyond words. It's just like, it's godliness in action.
It is.
Is single moms, dude. Just, yeah.
And just mums as well.
Mums in general, yeah.
Because I see my partner and she's so on demand for breast milk, and the amount of patience and love and resilience she has is honorable. And I'm like, honestly, I fucking respect and love you so much for how much you can just give to this beautiful child of ours. And it's there is good men out there though, and there's a lot of men doing the work, and there's a lot of men that are, you know, working on themselves to be to help these women feel safe in relationship, in companionship. So if you have been heartbroken, if you have been hurt and you've lost faith in men, there is good men out there. So keep putting out the energy of what you do want, keep giving yourself love, keep healing, and eventually you will attract the man that you need in your life, or a woman, whatever you need in your life. So yeah.
And dude, my request from you, man, is pray for me in this time where I still feel really tender. You know, man, it's weird, eh? Like I miss being married. Like I miss being a husband. I miss my wife. It's crazy. Amidst all these feelings, it's crazy how like it deeply comes down to this thing of like, you know, having this level of void is something that I've never really felt before in my life. Like it hurt because it mattered, you know? And so, but yeah, I just don't ever want to have to go back to try to fill this void with just bullshit, man.
Yeah.
With like chaotic feminine energy and like just, I know what I've done in the past to meet that place and to numb it, but I want you to hold me accountable with all that tension and newness and death, you know? Yeah, as a brother. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm here, bro. And this conversation, it's connective, and it's been a pleasure to meet you. And I'm glad I was resilient enough to keep messaging you, pestering you. And we finally got to sit down. And heartbreak is, it's painful, man. And I feel it. I can feel it energetically from here. And I just come to remember that what's meant for you will come back to you. And keep going and keep shining your light. Keep being Billy fucking Otto. I love it. I love the it gives me inspiration. It gives me confidence to be a bit more funky and to be a bit more out there and dressing more funky clothes. And don't be afraid to be called gay, because it's not. It's actually expressional, and it's actually, women actually like that more when you're actually expressing yourself, when you're vulnerable, when you're being your true self. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing all of your stories and all of your wisdom. And for anyone who's made it to the end of this episode, I think it's been like 3 hours. I don't know. But I appreciate each and every single person listening. And I hope that you could take one thing away from this just to help wherever you are on your journey, or just help you become a bit more self-conscious and self-aware enough to find your true self, and to, you know, focus on the great things in life and use the pain as fuel and just connect with great people. So yeah, thank you.
Oh, bro, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for your work. It's so good.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.